Howdy, howdy, conscious gearheads. Okay, so today I am going to pull a card from the deck called the Nap Ministries Rest deck. It is defined as 50 practices to resist grind culture. And it's supposed to be kind of in conjunction with the book, I believe it's called Rest is Resistance. And I thought this morning I would just pick a card. Just gonna go to the middle of the deck, pick a card, and we'll see what it says, y'all. Ooh, so this card says, I am free, I am rested, I am cared for, and I am well. Which is important for me to kind of I think we just don't say those kind of things to ourselves, right? We're just kind of like, I'm surviving, I'm on my grind, I'm doing what I gotta do. But to really say I am free, I am rested, I am cared for, I am well. Ooh, those are powerful statements. Even though they're like totally short sentences. So we'll read you on the back what it says. It says, the words I am are powerful because they speak to the affirmative. Oh, no. The words I am are powerful because they speak in the affirmative for your deepest needs and desires. You can call forth rest, care, and liberation from the hold grind culture has over you. You can speak in the power of, I will rest. I must rest. I am rest. Rest is available always, and your rest is sacred. I think this is a really important card for me in terms of thinking about the business and also just thinking about my life in general. Let's just be for real. When I went from 2 minutes at 2 miles per hour to running ultra marathons, I think most people would think that I must have really did a lot of work and I must have been out there every day, all day long. I was not, but I also will say, but I also will say this, that rest was an integral part of my process, because one of the things about getting to the level where you're running lots of mileage per day, you can't go into the next day without recovery. You can't go into the next day without rest. Your body will let you start and go, but when you're in the middle of something, it will be like, nah, boo-boo, you didn't sufficiently rest. You didn't sufficiently recover. So guess what? Here you are in the middle of the woods by yourself, tired, your hamstrings, your quads, your calves, your hips, your back hurt, and you feel like you can't really move. You learn that rest is an integral part of the process. And what's really cool biologically, right? Physiologically, so to speak, rest is about recovery and about repair. I think as women, we don't think to rest. And I think we're missing out on this important thing, that rest is about recovery. Rest is about repair. Rest is about, you can't even be your best self if you're not rested. And you see it all the time when people are angry, agitated, full of anxiety and full of stress. Why? Because they probably haven't rested. They haven't just taken that pause that all human beings require in order to move forward. And I think particularly for those of us as Black women, well, let me just speak for me. For me as a Black woman, my identity was tied into being a super Black woman, for caring for everybody else, overgiving, self-sacrificing, people-pleasing, all of that. I mean, I realized, this is maybe about 10 years ago when I started my ultramarathoning journey, I didn't know what I really liked. I had spent my whole life doing what everybody thought I was supposed to do. Or people saying, oh, well, you're actually good at that, so then maybe you should do this. Or do this for me. Or self-sacrifice for me so that I can be the best. And you just wait over there. You know what I mean? That I hadn't gotten to the business of people pleasing to the point where I did whatever it is people needed me to do and wanted to do because I thought that was valuable to society. I thought that was going to increase my importance. Honestly, when I think back now, that I did all that because I thought that by giving all of me, that people would love me back. And what I learned is that in many moments, I was all alone. No one was there. No one gave a fuck. And while I get that now, and I understand now that when you're in a people-pleasing space, basically you are setting up the dynamics for people to always be dependent on you. And it's a transactional, one-sided relationship. That's just what people-pleasing is. And we can't get mad at other people. You gotta get mad at yourself for like creating that situation. But more importantly, it's like I was always people-pleasing and I was collateral damage because I was always tired. I was always like, I just remember for years, I don't know about years and years and years and years. I said, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I mean, I would wake up in the morning, I'm tired. I would be first thing before I even got to work, I'm tired. I'd be throughout the day, I'm tired. It's like, at some point in time, I should have got tired of hearing myself say I'm tired. But I didn't understand. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And I think also too, I said I'm tired because I really was tired. But also because I thought it was a way for people to stop expecting things from me, right? I thought it was a way for people to say, okay, well, why don't you go get some rest? But nobody ever said go get some rest. Nobody ever said take a moment off. People are like, oh, you tired, girl? You'll get through it. Really? And so what I love about today's card is that it really is about this idea that I am free. Like, I knew I had stopped people pleasing when I started my ultra marathoning journey because I would get up every morning about 4 or 5 o'clock and I would do my running. And what running did for me, y'all, it really gave me the time. For me, money was meditative, and I used to really process everything that happened the day before that next morning. I would also do a significant amount of realizing things like, oh, I've been doing this for this person for all this time. And then when I needed them yesterday to do this for me, they couldn't even do anything for me. You know what I mean? And I cussed a lot of people out in my morning runs for years because I felt like I couldn't do it in person. But but I think in that space of running, that meditative running, being able to process those things, being able to cuss people out, it was good for me because as a people pleaser, I never felt like, it's so funny too, when you look back on everything and you realize what happened. I never thought I thought I wasn't allowed to hate people. I was always to love them. I was always to honor them. I was always to see the good in them, to not hate. And I learned in those morning runs to start hating people. I know hating is like not the best thing in the whole wide world, but it really allowed me the opportunity to just kind of feel like I ain't got to deal with these people. Like I really don't like dealing with them. Like I gave myself permission to just not like people, which was freeing. It was like liberating. I was like, oh my God, I don't really like them. Like once I thought about it, but in discovering that I didn't like people, I also discovered that I didn't like places and I didn't like things like my job. The real situation is I was good at it because that's what people told me to do. That identified certain things about me that I was able to do well. And so that contributed to that role. So then I was good. But did I like it? When I really thought about it, I used to think, oh, I love this. I'm good at this. No, I didn't. I didn't love it. I didn't like it. I was good at it. I told people I was good at things, not because I aspired to be good at it. I was good at it because I had to be good at it. As a single mother, trying to take care of my family, trying to do the best I can to take care of myself. I settled for things so that I could make a living. I pushed, like I used to say, I used to have this thing where when people ask me, when people interview me, I would be like, they'd be like, well, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Or what is it that you like or don't like about your job? And I said, really, honestly, I don't extend that opportunity for myself to hate something in a job because I need a job, right? So if I spend a lot of energy hating something, then what's going to end up happening is I'm already unhappy in a job, but I'm going to be even more unhappy, right? And it's just so interesting kind of looking back and realizing, wow, like all these beliefs that I had, like I couldn't hate people. I couldn't hate anything in a job. Everything was so performative, and it was so like externally, it was coming from the external and not from the internal. And when I started running, and I always say this, that running picked me. Because I was not going to run. I remember when I first started my journey, I was walking. I was super happy with it. But one day something in me said, let's bounce. Let's run. And I was like, no. But then I tried it and it kind of felt kind of good. And I always say that I feel like running picked me. And it took a minute before we developed a relationship. And then I picked running back. And running became that space where I felt free. Where honestly, I felt it was a space of rest because in many respects, I was able to process all the stuff that was going on in my life in a way that allowed me to understand, that freed me up, that freed up my mental energy, that freed up my physical energy, that freed up the negative energy. And I moved out of being performative and moved into being, and performative was very analytical, very, heady. I moved out of that to being more heart-centered. And more heart-centered mean that I got to operate from a place of, how do you feel about this, Charlotte? Do you like this? And giving myself permission to say yes or no. Because I realized too, that for many years, nobody had asked me how I felt. No one asked me how I felt. I was in relationships, I had friendships, but nobody paused and said, you know what, Charlotte, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel? Like, really, like, just no one ever took that moment. I'll be honest with you. I never took that moment with other people either. So, I'm just as guilty, but I also just didn't take that moment to ask myself. But I remember when I started running, I used to say to myself, look, when I would go out for the run in the morning, I was like, just do your best, babe. Whatever that is, I'm satisfied. I don't care. If you walk outside and you decide, that's my best, and you come back indoors, okay, cool. If you go out for 8 miles, but you only run 3, cool. Like, I was never I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself. I was in this space where I was allowing myself to just kind of be present to who and what I was and how I felt. And I would say to myself during my runs, early on in my runs, how do you feel today? And it was so awesome to kind of realize, I feel this way. I hate this motherfucking asshole at work and they getting on my last nerves. It was just nice to be able to say how I felt and be able to express it. No, it wasn't to a person, but it was to me. I was honoring me. And I feel like that's why it felt like I was free and liberated. Oh, and the other thing it says on this card, it says, I am cared for, I am well. I feel cared for. When I was running and asking myself how I feel and processing my feelings and my emotions and being honest about situations, I felt cared for and I felt well. I spent so many years, I tell you, I spent over 2 decades of being severely depressed in a state of constant, habitual, almost daily suicidal ideation. I did not want to live. I spent over 20 years wanting to not be here anymore. I did. And I had really grown comfortable in that space because I knew I was never going to do anything to myself, right? I'm too chicken and I don't like pain. But I was always on the lookout for something, maybe something would come along and I could do it and, I could be out of here. But it never really happened, and I see why. But I thought that was just going to be the way I lived for the rest of my life. But then running, I tell people what running did for me is that it pumped the blood through my body, and I think it changed my brain chemistry. And as a result of changing my brain chemistry, it changed my life, and I would never be the same again. The thought of not being here on the planet is not a thought that I have. I have no inclination towards that thought. I'm not saying it feels ridiculous to have that thought now. I understand where I was. I understand why that was a comforting thought. I understand why I was in that thought. I understand why I embraced it and I lived with it for decades. I get that. But I also get where I'm at now, which is really miraculous for me. Because I'm like, wow, I thought that was the way I had to be. Which really brings me back to running. And running caused me a couple of things, right? It forced me to rest, because you can't run day after day after day after day after day. And you can't do long distance endurance training without rest and recovery. Your body will not let you. But how in that space of rest and recovery and understand that I had to do that in order to do this activity, how it played into my overall life and really got me to the point where I was like, yes, I need to mentally rest. I need to spiritually rest. I need to physically rest and recover, right? I need to care for myself. And with that, I think so many times we're looking for things so outside of ourselves to be good to ourselves. And I realize that it is freedom. I am free when I just care for myself, when I nurture myself, when I talk to myself, when I say good things to myself, when I help myself get out of the negative energy pattern thoughts and redirect it towards more positive, good feeling thoughts. It is a sense of freedom. I was just saying the other day, I was saying yesterday, look, baby, if we sell a lot of vests during this Black Friday season, cool. If we don't, cool. Like, baby, you're going to be running these ads. You're going to be announcing to the world that you're having a flash sale, and you're just a blip. I'm talking about a micro blip in the world that has so much noise. Some people might hear you, but many won't, because you're such a blip. You're just like a little tiny blip. And so therefore, let's just be realistic about our expectations, but more importantly, understand that everything will be okay too. And so I think this card was really about, I am free, I am rested, I am cared for, I am well. And, come what may, whatever happens, that continues to be true. And it says here, you can call forth rest, care, and liberation from the hold the grind culture has over you. The grind culture says to me, oh, you got to be running these ads. Oh, you got to figure out how to sell all these vests during Black Friday. No. We're going to rest. We're going to care for ourselves, and we're going to be liberated. I'm going to do my best, and my best is going to be good enough, and I'm going to be all right. So, I don't know, y'all. I want y'all to consider getting this deck, the rest of the deck, because I think it's really about all of us kind of tapping back into who and what we are and honoring ourselves internally, because external is temporary, external is unpredictable, external is not always the truth, and external, it kind of doesn't really even matter. I love you guys. This is what day is this? 28th day, Super Soul Sunday. 28th day as a CEO, full-time CEO. I still feel good. I still love conscious gear. I'm still excited about getting these hydration vests in the hands of folks that are taller, curvier, more muscular, and in bigger bodies, because I know you guys deserve to be hydrated with ease, right? And you deserve gear that fits your body, not for you to squeeze your body into gear that don't fit, okay? Take good care of yourselves, okay? This is also right before Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you take care of yourself. And remember on Black Friday to opt outside, y'all. Why go shopping? Why consume when you can consume some nature? Because mother has all kinds of healing for you, but she needs you to come out, okay, to receive it. Peace and love, family. Hey!
Today's sponsor is Conscious Gear, innovators of VestaPak, the world's first hydration vest specifically designed for taller, curvier, more muscular, and bigger bodies. Now everyone can hydrate comfortably and effectively during endurance activities. The vest-style design fits diverse body types, weighs less than typical packs, and feels as comfortable as your favorite fitted sports shirt, all while allowing unrestricted movement. Experience the difference when your hydration gear is truly made for your body. Are you ready to elevate your fitness experience? Buy your VestaPak now at consciousgear.com and find out if you wear size Earth, Wind, or Fire. At Conscious Gear, we're committed to empowering bigger bodies to thrive as endurance athletes, because every body is an athlete's body.